My friends, there's a fundamental truth that most people overlook. Your mind is the creator of your reality. When you react to the world, when you allow someone else's words, actions, or energy to dictate your emotional state, what you're really saying is, I am a product of my environment. But what if you could become the creator of your environment instead? See, every time you feel anger, frustration, or irritation, it's not the external situation that's causing it, it's your conditioned response to it, and that means you have power. The power to rewire your mind, the power to liberate yourself from emotional reactivity. Because the moment you stop giving energy to the things that upset you, you take your energy back. So how do you do it? You begin by becoming aware. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. You have to observe yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your triggers, and in that moment of awareness, you pause. You don't react. You don't identify with that old self that used to get irritated. Instead, you shift. You become greater than the circumstances around you. And here's where it gets interesting. Every time you consciously choose peace over anger, you're rewiring your brain. You're breaking the cycle. You're teaching your nervous system a new way to respond. And over time, that old pattern, it simply dissolves. Because what you no longer energize with your attention ceases to exist in your reality. This is how you become untouchable. This is how you become a master of your own energy. The world can be chaotic, people can be negative, situations can be unpredictable, but none of it has power over you unless you allow it. So today I want you to make a decision. Decide that from this moment forward, no one and nothing will disturb your inner state. Not because you're suppressing emotions, but because you're rising above them. Because you are no longer a prisoner of reaction. You are the architect of your own mind. Your mind is the architect of your experience. Every emotion, every reaction, every response. Why? Because one of them has taken control of their inner world. The moment you decide that nothing outside of you has control over your emotions, you reclaim your power. You become the creator, not the victim. Most people go through life reacting to everything as if they are passengers in their own mind. But what if you could be the driver? What if no matter what happened, you could remain centered, unshaken, untouchable? It's not just possible, it's how the most powerful minds operate. The key is awareness. When someone says something that normally triggers you, pause. Don't react. Observe. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Do I want to give my power away to this moment? Because every time you react emotionally, you are handing over control to the external world. And every time you choose stillness instead, you are training your mind to rise above circumstances. Over time, this rewires your brain. You stop living in reaction and instead you begin to create, because your mind, when disciplined, becomes the force that shapes your reality. You were not born with anger. You were not born with frustration. These emotions, these reactions, they were programmed into you over time. As a child, you observed, you absorbed, you learned how to respond to the world based on the people around you. If you saw anger, you learned anger. If you saw frustration, you learned frustration. And every time you reacted in the same way, the pattern became stronger. Like grooves in a record, your brain wired itself to respond automatically, not because it was the truth, but because it was familiar. But here's what most people don't realize. What is learned can be unlearned. The way you react today is not who you are. It is simply a habit. And the moment you recognize that, you take back control. The moment you stop saying, this is just how I am, and start saying, this is just a pattern I've been running, you open the door to change. Every time you react with anger, you reinforce that old neural pathway. But every time you pause, breathe, and choose a different response, you weaken it. You are not your reactions. You are the awareness behind them. And if you can observe a reaction, that means you are separate from it. It means you have the power to rewire it. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Your body may crave the emotional charge of reacting. But if you stay conscious, if you refuse to be pulled in, the habit begins to dissolve. And what's left is freedom. Freedom from the cycle, freedom from emotional reactivity, freedom to choose who you want to be in every moment. Most people move through life on autopilot. They react, they get upset, they feel triggered, and they never stop to ask why. But the moment you bring awareness to your reactions, everything changes. Because now you're no longer just feeling, you're observing. And when you observe something, you create distance from it. You start to see the patterns. Maybe it's a certain tone of voice that irritates you. Maybe it's when someone questions your decisions. Maybe it's when things don't go exactly as you planned. Whatever it is, there's a pattern. And if there's a pattern, it means there's a program running in your mind. A program that was installed long before you even realized it. But here's the truth. No program runs without your permission. The moment you see it, you have a choice. You can continue reacting, or you can step back. Instead of being inside the emotion, you can watch it like an observer. You can say, there it is, that old feeling, that old reaction. And in that moment, you detach from it. You are no longer controlled by it. This is how change begins. Not by suppressing emotions, not by forcing yourself to be different, but by becoming deeply aware of yourself, by catching the reaction before it takes over, by refusing to go unconscious. And every time you do this, you take back your power. You start to break free from the patterns that once controlled you. You start to become the master of your mind. And when you master your mind, nothing outside of you can control how you feel. In every situation, you have a choice. You can react, or you can pause. Most people react without thinking. Someone says something rude and they fire back. Something doesn't go their way and frustration takes over. But what if just for a moment you stopped? What if instead of reacting, you took a breath? In that brief pause, something powerful happens. You create space between the trigger and your response. You take control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. Because the truth is, the first feeling that rises within you is not a command. It's just a signal, a suggestion from the past, but you are not required to act on it. When you pause, you shift from unconscious reaction to conscious choice. And in that space, you can decide who you want to be. Do you want to be the person who always reacts, who gets caught in frustration, anger, or resentment? Or do you want to be the person who remains centered, calm, and in control? The pause is where transformation happens. The pause is where you take your power back. At first, it will feel unnatural. Your body will want to react the way it always has. But if you stay aware, if you hold the pause just a little longer, you weaken the old habit. And every time you do this, you rewire your brain. You train yourself to respond instead of react, to think instead of explode, to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. And when you master the pause, nothing can shake your inner peace. Your brain is like a path in the forest. The more you walk a certain trail, the clearer and stronger it becomes. And if you keep choosing the same reaction, anger, frustration, irritation, then that path stays well-worn and easy to follow. But what happens if you stop walking that trail? What happens if you choose a new direction? At first, it feels unnatural. Your mind wants to go back to what it knows. The old habit is still there, calling you, pulling you back into the same reactions. But if you keep choosing differently, something incredible starts to happen. The old pathway weakens, the new pathway strengthens, and over time, what once felt impossible becomes effortless. This is how you rewire your brain, not through force, not through willpower alone, but through conscious, intentional repetition. Every time you choose peace instead of anger, you reshape your mind. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you carve a new path. Every time you refuse to let emotions control you, you train yourself for mastery. And the more you repeat this, the easier it gets, until one day, the old way of being no longer feels like you, until one day, staying calm isn't something you have to force, it's just who you, because your brain is always adapting, and you are the one who gets to decide what it becomes. Whatever you focus on, you give power to. Whatever you keep thinking about, you invite more of into your life. If you focus on problems, they grow. If you focus on anger, it deepens. If you keep replaying what hurt you, the pain lingers, not because the situation has power over you, but because you are feeding it with your attention. Your energy is like water. It nourishes whatever you pour it into. So if you keep watering weeds, they will take over your garden. But if you start watering what you actually want, peace, joy, strength, those things will grow instead. Negativity only survives when you give it fuel. If you stop engaging with it, it fades. If you stop reacting to it, it loses its grip. The more you shift your focus, the more your reality changes. It's not about pretending problems don't exist. It's about choosing not to keep them alive in your mind. You always have a choice. You can keep replaying what went wrong, or you can redirect your energy to what's possible. You can keep focusing on what upsets you, or you can shift your awareness to what strengthens you. One path drains you, the other path empowers you. And every moment you are making that choice. Where your attention goes, your life follows. So choose wisely. Nothing outside of you has control over how you feel. Not a person, not a situation, not the past, not the future, not even the words or actions of others. The only thing that determines your inner state is where you place your focus and how you choose to respond. Most people live as if their emotions are at the mercy of the world. If someone is rude, they get offended. If things don't go their way, they feel frustrated. If life throws challenges at them, they crumble. But the truth is, nothing has power over you unless you allow it. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. You decide what enters and what does not. You decide whether you will react or remain centered. You decide whether you will let something steal your peace or leave it untouched. And the moment you take full responsibility for your inner state, you set yourself free. Free from emotional turbulence, free from being easily triggered, free from letting the world dictate how you feel inside. This is not suppression, this is mastery. It means standing so firm in your own energy that nothing can shake you. It means training your mind to remain still even in chaos. It means knowing that your power is always within you, never outside of you. And once you fully grasp this, once you embody it, you become untouchable. Because the world can do what it will, but your inner state will always belong to you. And so the choice is yours. You can continue living in reaction, letting people and situations dictate your emotions, or you can rise above it. You can become the master of your own mind, the creator of your inner world. It won't happen overnight. But every moment you choose awareness over reactivity, every time you pause instead of reacting, every time you shift your focus toward peace, you take one step closer to mastery. And as you do, you'll notice something remarkable. The things that once triggered you will no longer have power. The people who once frustrated you will no longer affect you. The situations that used to disturb your peace will become insignificant because you will have outgrown them. You will have stepped into a new level of being, a level where nothing outside of you determines what happens inside of you. This is true freedom, this is real power, and it has always been within you. Now it's time to claim it.